is just answer a bunch of questions. I mean, to have a format tonight would kind of be silly because I know there's so many people who have questions. So that's kind of my agenda for the evening. So if you have questions, go ahead and come on up and introduce yourself, and let's get to those before I start talking. Anybody? Let's see. Are you guys still there? You all shouldn't be muted, theoretically.
I think everyone has to unmute themselves.
There we go.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Who's this?
It's Motte from Australia.
Oh, that's so far away. You have beautiful weather there too. Well, welcome. What time is it there?
It's just about to hit 11 o'clock a.m.
Awesome. Well, that's not bad. We're getting to our evening time. What's the weather like there?
Yeah, where I am is always sunny. It's similar to the Florida weather.
Oh, I'm so jealous. How close are you to water?
About 10 minutes away.
Oh, now I'm really, really jealous. Have you ever seen
it's pretty good, yeah.
devil? Have you ever seen a Tasmanian devil?
No, I'm too far from Tasmania. Well, we do have a lot of kangaroos where I am.
You have to post one in the group because most of us have never seen one except for like at the circuses and the carnivals, and the people from Australia bring them.
Yeah. We got a few koalas as well that you see randomly.
Oh, that's so cool.
And a lot of snakes where I am, though. There's a lot of snakes in summertime. Oh, it's not good.
How big are those guys?
Yeah, it ranges sometimes closer to 2 meters. So it gets pretty scary.
Yeah, that sounds scary to me. Definitely. Okay, guys. Well, tonight we're kind of just going to do an open forum. Maybe another night I'll kind of just stick to MT4 and go over all the information on how to work MT4. But tonight I know a lot of people had a lot of questions. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and come on up and ask your questions. So
hi, Jenny.
First. Hey, who's this?
This is Corey.
Hey, Corey, how's it going?
All right. Hey, I was in a pair today, and then I seen that it had a lot of news on there. The NZD pair.
Which pair?
The what was it? MZD, USD.
Okay.
It looked like it was going up, but I made a little profit on there. But I thought about it, and then I said, you know what? They said not to trade the news, so I got out of it. Did I do the right thing?
Well, if you cleared and you cashed out in profit, you always did the right thing.
Okay.
You can't go broke taking profit. So you always did the right thing if you cashed out, because if it's going to, like Pat says, like if it's going to keep you up at night and you're going to be worried about it, then just exit the trade. Like you lose nothing.
Okay. Yeah, because it's like it's 4 news. Yeah, they have 4 newses on there in a row. And I was like, oh, that might not look good if it's,
Well, no, it looks good. I mean, according to like technical analysis, it looks good.
Yeah.
But because NZD has that interest rate decision, like we don't want to be in a trade. Like if you're in profit and you're willing to take the chance, just move your stop loss into profit and then let it run. And then if it comes back and it hits your profit, maybe you had it up just maybe 4 to 5 pips, and it comes back and it hits it, fine. But if it goes in your direction, well, then you woke up a really happy man.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a little scared.
That's okay. But rather you be a little bit scared and apprehensive than the person who's jumping into 58 trades and then saying, why am I losing?
Yeah.
So definitely. Okay, guys, well, everyone said they had a bunch of questions in the room, and like people have messaged me all day long. I can't even find anybody's messages on Telegram. So if you guys have questions, you got to step up and ask your questions, and then you can unmute yourselves at will. So And then we'll kind of go over whatever you want to go over and just look through some pairs. No one?
Jenny, I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Taking quality trades. There's a few that I've taken in the last couple of weeks that have gone against me and hit my TP. So my question is, how do you siphon out the better probability that'll go your way, those trades, Jenny?
Okay, so what I do, and I say this all the time, is you have to find your own set of rules, your own set of, strategy based off of who you are. Because mine may or may not be perfect for you, or they might be the exact opposite of who you are. So what I do is every Monday, I come to my charts and I just literally drag and drop. I don't prefer Pat's symbol changer down there because it kind of just is a little bit slow. Some people love it, some people don't. It's fully personal preference. But all I really do is I'm dragging one pair onto my chart, if it will drag, and I'm taking a look. So what I'm looking for is, I don't care so much about the 5 minute and the week, but if these can line up, great. But my bare minimum qualifications are the 1 hour and the 4 hour have to line up. So when these two are lined up, so let me go to the right time frame. It's a little hard with this recording window. Let's go to the hour. There we go. Wait for the chart to kind of bounce back. There we go. So on the 1 hour, if I had checked this, I don't know exactly what time that was, but let's say today is the 7th. Well, technically we're on the 8th trading time. So I checked my charts last night, give or take, and this is what I would have saw approximately right here, according to the time I checked it. And this looks good, right? If we're not looking to the right and we're only looking from here left, can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys can see my mouse.
Yep.
So this is one that I would write down as a trade that I would possibly take that week. So I just literally go through, I drag and drop the trades that I want. And then I'll compare it to news. So anything that we can do to make sure that we have, sorry, Zoom has this waiting room enabled. So I'm going to have to turn that off before we do this again, because I have to admit every single person into the group for some reason. And that's just silly. But anyhow, so this is what I saw. And I got to keep doing that. Then I would write this down as a trade that I'd potentially take. And if my stop loss was only right here, it still hasn't hit it. But these trades on the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame, I don't recheck it for 10 days. So the system has approximately a 90% accuracy ratio. And when you add in just a little bit of skill in terms of avoiding news, in terms of understanding naked charts, then you have a much more higher probability. But if you only go off of the 1 hour and the 4 hour, and that's all you're paying attention to, you're ignoring every single thing else, you'll hit in the 90th percentile. But the thing is you have to hold these for 10 days. These trades are going to keep going depending on what the average daily range is, and how big the move is going to be. But they're going to keep going. It really is a kind of personal preference, but that's all I'm doing. Is because this lines up. So I'll draw a line, a vertical line. This is approximately where I checked the charts yesterday, give or take. See waiting room, admit all. So for instance, with one of the ways that I taught stacking trades, if I had entered right there, that's a 60 pip move. So essentially, two of my, I think three of my entries would have closed in profit if I had stacked 4 times, give or take spread, and obviously there's variables, but 3 of my entries would have closed in profit, and now it's a number retracement. So if I saw this right now and I was taking this trade, I would just buy it again. That's it, because we've got another support line, right? And if I go down to a smaller time frame, I'm guessing it's lining up pretty well. Yeah. The JPY is kind of strong though, because you have to realize that the whole system was kind of closed for however many days due to that JPY news or holiday thing. So all that Japanese yen money is kind of flushing into the market, which is the reason why the Japanese yen is it's going extremely high, and it's going to keep going high until the books are balanced, but then trading will resume as normal. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Hey,
really
Jenny,
it. Go ahead.
Jenny, do you ever day trade with this system, or do you only swing trade with it?
To be transparent, like I have played around with the scalping and the now and later.
Yeah.
To me, and again, the reason why Pat and I agreed to do this was because we have a lot of strengths and our personalities play well on each other, but nothing I say is against him and nothing he says is against me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that I've had that little disclaimer, I personally don't think a 15-minute chart is a scalping strategy. 5 minutes is a scalping strategy. So in terms of like day trading, if you were to find a 5-minute trade, and this, when we show this on a video, it looks so easy, but then you hit a stop loss and you're thinking, oh my gosh, why can't I get this right? Right? But what you're not getting right typically is the take profits or a trailing stop. Because if you had a 20 pip take profit, this one would have closed, give or take spread. That one would have closed. And if we scroll back in time, like just randomly, and this isn't even like a fast moving pair at all. Let's just scroll until it stops. Not there, because that's got a gap. So pick any of these. Oopsie.
I'll be in front of my computer in a couple minutes. I had to go get some groceries out the car real quick. So I'll have more questions in a couple minutes. If anybody else got any other questions?
It's okay. Yeah, everyone's messaging me, and now they have a chance to speak up, and they're like, "Don't you think this sound dumb?" I mean, none of us are experts. We're all just learning. You know, when I first learned trading, one of the people who taught said, "I am a student always." So that's kind of the way we treat this. We have a lot to learn. So like I was saying, right now we're on the 5-minute chart. On any one of these moves, so even if the triple arrow reset and you got in, well, let's see. Could you have cashed out for a couple pips on any of these? Yes. And of course, the bigger ones have bigger potential, but you don't know that when you first see it.
Let me ask you this. If you're scalping, how often do you find it an issue scalping foreign currencies because of this larger spreads?
I would say use CoinEx. They used to be FinPro. CoinEx bought them out. They have a really good withdrawal standard, which is the biggest concern. They don't have a lot of play in terms of market manipulation, and they have really, really low spreads. So at least from where I'm standing, that's one of the best options. LMFX.
I'm using Oanda right now.
See, I'm not fond of Oanda, one of the biggest, oldest companies, and I'm not fond of Trader's Way either. Trader's Way is known for a lot of market manipulation, and even people I know personally, like they've withheld multiple 6 figures for months and months and months. And
yeah, I used to use them, and they give you a lot of leverage, like 1,000 to 1, but it's, like you said, I don't trust them. I've had issues with taking profits with them as well, too. But Oanda's supposed to be U.S. regulated, which is the reason why I trusted them.
Yeah, but what's your leverage with them?
50 to 1 is really small.
And 50 to 1 is great in theory, but it really isn't enough. So how many times have you blown your account with 50 to 1 leverage?
I haven't with 50 to 1, and that's kind of the reason. Like, I mean, it kind of works as like a self-protectant in a way, like which it can suck, but at the same time, you can't really over leverage. They don't really allow you to over leverage. Unlike Trader's Way, where you can just go willy nilly and trade whatever you want. Trade standard lots with $100 if you want.
I don't know. I think a standard lot of $100 is going to blow most accounts.
Oh, of course. I'm being sarcastic. I'm just saying they allow you to do that.
Yeah, no, my best account is 2,000 to 1 leverage.
Okay.
But then again, I know how to trade. So, I mean, when you know how to trade, leveraged money is your best friend. But when you don't know how to trade, obviously it can be an extreme deficit. So,
That makes sense.
But I'd still recommend higher than 50 to 1 because 50 to 1 just isn't enough. Like, so I don't know. Don't quote me. There's much better and much smarter people who can explain leverage better than I can. But on 50 to 1, on a $100 account, I'm assuming you can take about maybe 2 trades at a 0.01 if you have a 40, 50 pip stop loss, and that's probably it. which makes
Yeah, I mean,
slow growth.
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, my account is larger than $100, but I'm trading like $1 a pip right now. Like, you can grow at a decent pace trading mini lots, but they don't allow me to get into too many trades at one time. So I will take your advice on that and look into other brokers. Do you have one you recommend? You said what was the name of them?
Yeah, you can message me. And I told anybody, like, because Pat doesn't recommend brokers, I will, and I use their affiliate programs. So if you use my affiliate link for one of the brokers, you got to know that first off, I am 1,000% unliable if anything happens, because a broker is a broker and that's not on me. But I will definitely give you like a private training or help you create a trading plan or a trading spreadsheet, whatever you want. Your pick. So.
Hey, Jenny. Hi. I got a question.
Hey, Fancy, right?
Yes, Fancy. How you doing?
Fantastic. I love your name. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So I want to do the trading. I don't want to do the swing trading, which is, I guess it's okay. I didn't do a lot of it, but I did profit. I didn't go like high like everyone else is, but it's okay because I want to do like the daily, because I want to get in and not have to really worry about watching it. So my question is, can I start doing the daily with just $100 in my account and just do what is it, 0.1 on a trade, or is that too low?
I've said this before and I'll say it again. I have no business answering what lot size to use, and neither does anybody else, because I don't know what your broker's fees are. I don't know what your spreads are. I don't know what your leverage is. Every broker has different swaps. Like some brokers have an insanely high swap on Euro odd. Like it blew me away on so many different brokers. It's insane, especially like on Wednesdays. There's so many variables. I am not the person, and nobody is the person to answer that. But I will tell you the standard rule of thumb is 0.01 for every $100. So that's a mini lot for every $100 you have in your account. That's kind of like across the board if you're looking just for an easy way. But the best answer would be to type into a calculator what your stop loss is and decide how much you're willing to risk per trade. So like if you were doing the savings account method and you're taking 2 trades, you're never having more than 2 trades open at a time, and you're willing to risk 10% on each one of those 2 trades. Most of the time that shouldn't leverage your account, obviously depending on your current or personal situation, but then it'll tell you what the lot size is for that pair, because the lot size on Euro GBP would be half as big as the lot size on CHF JPY, because literally Euro GBP is one of the highest valued trade or pairs to trade, and some of them are worth like $6 per lot, and some of them are worth like $13 per lot. So there's so many variables in there. It depends on what pair you're trading, what your account's set up like. Best advice is please use a calculator. If you're going to treat this like a career, it's worth your 5 minutes to learn how to use that calculator.
Okay, and the calculator, is that the FX calculator?
I prefer the FX calculator. There's a lot of free tools you can put on MT4, and then there's at my FX book, which is the one that I use. And then Jennifer in the group, she actually suggested Stinu. It's a free app for Android and Apple. And I've looked at it, it's pretty good. It doesn't give you a bunch of information, but it's good.
Okay. Now my other question is, because I want to get real serious about this. So my other question is that I need to understand, how do I go about finding out what my broker fees are? Like, I know absolutely nothing about trading other than what Pat has been teaching us and looking at his videos. I was in IML for probably like 30 days, and I can't say I learned a whole lot because I didn't get deep off into it. So before I got with this team. So I want to get serious, but I want to make sure that I'm on the right page as far as finding out the information that I need to do for myself, as well as the information that I'm gathering from Pat and you.
Okay. So The best thing you could probably do, I mean, that's kind of a all-inclusive question, is it's essentially how you learn trading. I mean, if you want to treat this like a career, like I said, and you're dead serious, and you definitely seem like you are, you're in the group, you're asking questions, you're participating, first off, it takes time, and please let Google be your friend.
Okay.
And in terms of your broker, they have your money, they want your money, they want your business. Believe it or not, the more money you make, the more money they make. So in general, I don't personally believe brokers are your enemy, because we're all in business. Then again, I'm a business person, so I understand the concept a little different than most. So having said that, I have yet to have a broker whose customer service was absolutely horrible. Like most of them, they are going to sit there and they're going to chat with you. They're going to answer your questions. 90% of the time, it's not somebody who speaks super, super fluently, but they, at the end of the day, will answer all of your questions. So if you're using whatever broker, get on there, click the chat button and say, okay, what are the spreads? And they're going to send you a link, and then say, okay, what is the swap fees on Wednesdays? Are there any other fees that I need to know about? And then just be super clear, make sure you ask the right questions, and I promise you will get all the information you need, and then you'll understand way better.
Okay. Okay. That's what I do. I didn't know that I can utilize them that way, but will they be able to, like, so I guess my problem is some of the things that I need to know, I don't know that I know them. So you basically tell me I should use, that's when you said I need to use Google as my best friend, right? To find out what else I need to know, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, I came from IMIT, just like you did. I did spend a lot of time there, went through the training a bajillion times. But at the end of the day, like, this is still a profession. People go to school for this, and you can do super well even without all the answers. Like Pat said, and he laughed when he said it, and I kind of loved that, because it was like, you know, I don't know how to count pips on USD Mexican. I don't know how to count pips on crypto, because I don't need to know that to make money. So a lot of people are sitting here getting stuck on, you know, they're not necessary bits of information. They're kind of stuck in over-analysis paralysis, if you will. So not making a decision because they don't feel like they know enough. But this system is, you know enough. Like, you know that when this happens, you have a really high success, a high rate of potential of this is going to go out for so many pips. You take the trade, and if you did it right, with the right confirmations, you got some pips. If not, maybe news went against you. Like, you don't need to know everything. You can learn as you go.
Okay. Okay, because I think sometimes I be overthinking and not knowing, and that I confuse myself. So thank you. That was great.
No problem. I do the same thing. I mean, I do it all the time. And I'm working on it because I'm still a work in progress, is that getting stuck, because there's new levels. New levels bring new devils. So I have to kind of get out of my head sometimes and say, wait a minute, this information looks really important, but how important is it?
Right.
So just start.
Okay, Jenny.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. How you doing? I have another question for you. Farthest one, that now later strategy. Now he says enter on the 15-minute chart, right? And if you want to put 2 positions in, and the last position, let it run. I have a problem with that part because I don't know if I'm doing it the right way or not. Can you kind of like explain that last position running?
Okay, so what he means is, for instance, let's pretend like we took this trade. I'm going to move my little line, if it will let me. It's really hard to see with this window. Let me move this. Hold on. There we go. Now I can see it. So let's pretend like, I don't know what time this was, but let's just say with a little bit of grace, we kind of caught this trade at the perfect time. Okay?
Okay.
Which isn't super realistic, as you know, but let's just say pretend we did. So he's saying if we entered this trade, the seabird came up and we entered the trade somewhere in here, right?
Yes.
I'm going to omit that person. I'm going to draw a vertical line right there.
Okay.
If you took a trade, you took 2. So if you did one-click trading, You hit buy twice, right?
Yes.
And then you would go in and kind of edit them. If you watch the videos, you know how to do that. So one of them you'd have whatever take profit. And then the other one you're letting run, which I love that strategy. I love it for people who can be in front of their charts. But the problem with that is a lot of the market goes up and it goes down. So this technically, I mean, let's just say you got 30 pips because I try to round down. 30 pips is a lot. So did you catch those or did it already retrace all the way back down?
I already caught those pips and then it retraced back down. And that's what I was worried about on that one trade that I was just in that I talked to you about. It was, what was it? NU.
Okay, let's go to NU on the 15-minute. So there we go. So you bought over here, or
Yep.
we bought here?
Yep, I think I went back towards back there, boy. Yep, that was
Okay,
it.
the first thing is Australian. So I don't ever trade odd and ZD, and the reason why, and that's like one of the only pairs that I seriously just don't trade. And the reason why is because those two currencies, like they move almost the exact same. So when odd is strong, NZD is strong. When NZD is weak, odd is weak.
Okay.
But I'm telling you that because odd had news. I'm assuming this is that news candle.
Yep.
So, and NZD just knocked you out. And in that case, there was nothing you did wrong. Like, that's one of those things that everyone wants this magic sauce to, the secret answer. But there's no secret answer. If news knocked you out, news knocked you out. So, but if you had a trailing stop on this, so where did you get in? You told me, right?
Yep, I got in right about there. And then actually I won the trade because of the news, it hit it. But then I stayed in to let the other one run. And when the other one ran, it pulled all the way back. And I was like, I don't know what to do now. Just stay in there or, you know what I'm saying?
I do believe NZD is going to keep going up. And that's the beauty of the triple arrow system. Essentially, all that happened is we created another wave. So it's not like unheard of. There's still a very high likelihood this will go up. However, NZD has an interest rate decision, so be mindful of that. Definitely keep your stop loss close, which is a little bigger than you wanted it. But so your stop loss, let's say you said you got in around here, 6.6. Let's say that.
Yes.
So that stop loss is still only 22 pips. That's not bad.
Okay.
Well, plus spread and fees and whatever. That's still like, that's a reasonable amount. That's definitely not bad. But in terms of your actual question, that's where personal choice comes in. I can't give you a direct answer. Pat can't give you a direct answer. And the reason why is because you can turn like a $50 account into 10 grand in 30 trades.
Okay.
You need a good enough leverage. I think you need 1,000 to 1 leverage to do that. But based off of only getting 20 pips. So if you find 30 trades where you can cash out with, let's just say 24 pips, because you need to cover the spread and the fact that some pairs trade less than $10, you can literally turn $50 into $10,000 in 30 trades. And I'm big on all those numbers because it shows you what's possible. But everybody wants to catch the big move or they're so afraid of missing out. The reason why I don't mind my trailing stops is because if this had happened to me, then again, a couple of my trades would close and profit. And the rest of them, well, I don't know if I would have taken this trade. Let me go to, I don't trade off the 15-minute. I just don't. It's not my friend. So let's assume that big arrow was right here. Okay.
Okay.
The odds are reset, if I'm guessing. Just a guess, but probably right. So if this was the big arrow is approximately 13 pips big or long or tall. So if this is where it was, we'll go off of this one. 13 pips down. My stop loss would be here. Let's see. So, and this is all just speculation because trying to run a back tester on a video is hard and it takes time to set up. But basically, if I had entered this trade, assuming that the big arrow was right here at the lowest low, all before the news happened, right?
Right.
What would have happened to me is, okay, if I was waiting for confirmation, I had my MACD cross, I've got my volume kind of going over the zero, And like, let's say for me, I think that's enough. I've got a bullish engulfing candle. You can see that candle right there?
Yeah.
That's a bullish engulfing candle right next to a doji. That's a really good indication like this is going to go up. So market told us what was going to happen before it happened. But in that case, let's say I got in about 50% of that bullish candle, that engulfing candle, which is where I would enter. That's 25 pips, again, give or take. That's enough for several of my entries to close. So two of them would have, give or take, two of them would have closed. And then if it keeps going up, great, and if not. But again, the way I stack is my heaviest position, so like my position that I'm risking the most in, closes at 20 pips, 22 pips.
Okay.
This way, so depending on what your tolerance for risk is, depending on your trading style, let's say you want to look at what Pat's doing. So if you risked 5% on that first trade, okay, you'd have to pull up one of those calculators to do this, but let's just say this was a 0.5. That's a heavy lot size, right?
Yes.
Your 0.5 closed, and at 0.5 you cashed out with whatever amount of dollars because this is a USD pair, and now your other one's running. This one cashed out with 40 bucks. Am I right?
Yes.
Well, five times 20. No, that's 100 bucks. So you cashed out with 100 bucks. Okay. This one's only, and this one you only risked a couple percent on. Say this one you risked 2% on. This one would only be down right now by give or take 20 bucks.
Okay.
Do you follow that math? I mean, that's kind of math in public, which isn't my strong suit, but that's the reason why I trade the way I trade. So that heavier one closed. So now my free margin's freed up. My account is now larger, and this little $20 drawdown isn't bugging me.
Okay.
And again, if it hits the stop, it hits the stop. We can't control that. Does that help?
Yeah, that does help. So you just let the other one run. Now, this is another thing that I was kind of lost at. When you let that one run, do you change time frames? Or do you stay on the same time frame that you traded?
Well, what Pat was referencing in the meeting on Monday are these stair steps. So all I did was click the 4 hour. Now we're on the 4 hour chart. Maybe I should change my stats so you guys can see. So right now we're on the 4 hour chart. Sorry, I've got this video window, it's all weird. So let's go over this way. Let's find the last cell. Well, there is still a buy on the 1 hour, huh? On the 4 hour. Let's go to the last time it told us to sell. Well, that was a long time ago, so hold on. Well, that was a while ago. Maybe I should just pick a different pair. Okay, there we go. The last time it told us to actually sell, and this hasn't reset at all. He's referencing this stair step, right? And then this stair step.
Okay.
And this stair step, right? So he's saying if you see the big arrow, okay, what you're doing is you're selling off of that. And that takes patience. So if you want a 20 pip strategy, just use a 20 pip strategy. Until you build up the confidence and the understanding, that there's nothing wrong with that. So you can use the system. I mean, I would reference this, the daily average, and I got this from one of the rock stars in the group, actually. I think I love this tool. I used to have to go to this website to find this information. Now it's right on my chart because this tells you how much this pair moves per day, average daily range. I'll drop this in the group too. So this might be more information for another night, but this tells you a whole stinking bunch, like a whole full bunch. So if you were going to take this trade based off of the downward arrows and you took on the 15-minute, you could go for 50% of the daily range or the whole 40, and that's your take profit. And that's all you're trying to get from this trade. That means you don't want your stop loss any bigger than 20 or 40 if you're going a 2-to-1 or a 1-to-1 ratio. And only sticking with that using the three arrows, you're good. You don't have to try to catch the hundreds of cards. You don't have to try to only go for 5. It's 1,000% your preference.
Okay.
Because again, this move, which You see us drawing on these charts, and it's not because we know more than anybody else. It's not because we have some magic power, but this move went 175 pips if you held it. But if you were tripping every time this happened, you're never going to hold it for that long.
Okay.
And that's the thing about trading is you think you have to trade every day, but you don't. Like if you picked 4 pairs per week and you're never more than 4 pairs, you might have spent an hour trading, especially if you had trailing stops. So if I had taken this trade, I'll draw a line. I've got my MACD crossover, my money tree string line, which you guys know I love. The new buy sell lines, big arrow, little arrow, and the seabird we kind of readjusted to be a little faster. And then we've got the crossover. So let's just say we got in right there. And that was enough data for us. Again, there's no guarantees, but it would have pulled back a little. Well, this is a slow moving pair, but you know, and there's a spread. So it probably looks like a 20 pip pullback, although it's only 10. What would have happened if I had my stacked entries is I've got 1 that closed, 2 that closed, and then I ride it all the way down.
Okay.
And that's not hard. But that's the problem if you don't have a trailing stop or a take profit, you could be 180 pips up and then now you're no pips up.
Okay.
You have to decide, like, and you can't just decide because it feels good. You have to decide based off of some actual information. You're not going to go for a 300 pip move on, you know, a super slow moving pair like, you know, CAD, CHF or something. It's just not going to happen.
Okay.
Penny, what did you guys change the seabird to?
Okay, so let's check that out. On the screen. So the seabird is kind of modeled after the stochastic, as you guys know. And if you scroll down to the number that says MA2, your chart probably says 35. Pat had moved it to 21. We were kind of playing with the few. I still had this one at a smaller time frame. So that's at 21 now. It's a little bit slower. That's where it's at.
Hey, Jenny.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. When price actually goes outside of the auto trend lines, does it automatically reset? And then on the non-later strategy, you mentioned you'd probably consider using the 5 minutes. So would you use the 5, 15, and 30 as confirmation before you get into it to scalp it?
Okay, so for scalping, I was kind of super lucky. For those of you who know him, I was kind of in the Dr. Spiller's group. He's a multiple 7 and 8 figure trader. So I know a lot about scalping. It's just not my friend, first off. Because again, money is only worth so much if it takes all of your time. So having said that, I'm not in love with scalping, but let's play around here. I'm gonna try to make this bigger. Insert. This is way easier on TradingView. No, I'm just gonna use a line. But let's say we wanted to take this trade. I'm on the 5 minute chart. This is not a heavy mover. This is not a GBP pair, okay? And we waited till the seabird came in, so we're gonna get in after this line, right? Notice how you really can't use the AA lines as an indication right here because you don't know where they were in this moment. They could have been right here. The AA lines readjust according to the current trend, not according to the past trend, right? So for this example, we're ignoring the AA lines. Fair enough?
Okay.
So, but in this example, we have our big arrow, which all this is showing us that a big move is coming. It's showing us that one of the waves is complete and there's a high probability of a turnaround. It might come now, it might come later, we don't know. But that's why we don't go off of this. The little arrow is programmed kind of somewhere as a mid-grade, and we know that the seabird is programmed off the stochastic. This is programmed off of having so many bars that stalled out or didn't go above or below a certain price, if I'm not mistaken. So now that we understand how this whole setup works, what do we see? We've got our signal line crossing on the MACD, and MACD is extremely accurate. For how much it's accurate, that's where everyone gets tripped up. But every time these crosses happen on the MACD, Price moves. It's a matter of, did you catch the right amount of pips before you closed it? And that's where scalping kind of comes in. So this is a beautiful example, but not every example is this pretty. So let me try to make it big. Here we go. Oopsie. Wow. Okay. Not going to let me make it that big. But what we have is we have the two EMA crosses, right? We've got that money line. So we've got a lot of confirmation here that says this is going to happen right now, right? Scalping is only meant to be for a couple of pips. So that's 10. That's 12. Could you have gotten your couple of pips? Yes, could have. But if you're going to learn to scalp, you have to realize that you're not going for 30 pips unless you're going in the direction of the trend. The full potential of this isn't very much. Even at its peak, it's only 13 pips. That means, but do you realize how many hours you had to sit here to catch 13 pips? Because we can count them. Hold on. Let me move this down. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 2000. So that took almost 3 hours to catch 13 pips. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Now, depending on what your lot size was and what you're worth per hour, that to me isn't super worth it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, because a long time ago when I first started businesses and, you know, my mother tried to convince me to incorporate and I was really young and really dumb and I knew better, right? But she was explaining to me, okay, well, what is your time worth per hour at the rate I was making money? And of course, it took me a long time to kind of wrap my head around the concept because sometimes I can be pretty stubborn. But if you decide what your time is worth per hour, if this scalp is worth it to you based off of your lot size and your account size, by all means scalp. But if not, maybe look for some longer term trades because that's a pretty big chunk of time to get 13 pips.
Or could you go for like the faster moving pairs then?
Of course. But you have
slow moving pairs?
No, again, I've said it before, I love my GBP pairs. But when GBP moves, it moves and you can't throw a fit because you're going to get knocked out of GBP a whole bunch. Your ratio, your win and loss ratio will be smaller on a GBP pair just because of the amount of volatility alone, which doesn't mean that's bad, provided you're controlling your risk to reward ratio. So for instance, if you're never risking, I mean, if you're scalping, most people do 1-to-1 or even way less than that, which is really foolish. But if you plan on getting your stop loss hit a couple of times, okay, then no biggie. But let's take one of these smaller moves. Let's assume the big arrow was right here, because it probably was. We had a crossover, and let's say we took it right here as fast as we possibly could, and this is the 5-minute chart. That's 27 pips. Well, let's go less, 25 pips. Just this one little move, which definitely makes it worth it.
But
So,
if you're going to do that, you still want to check on the 15 and the 30 just to make sure you're going in the right direction for the trend. That's what you're going to use to determine the trend?
Okay, so in this group, and notice the disclaimer I just said, in this group, we determine the trend by the big arrow. So if the big arrow is saying on the day chart it's going down, then we're looking to sell. If we're looking, and typically if we're determining trend, we're using about the 4-hour. So if I were to advise you on what trend you're following, it would be the 4-hour big arrow. So if the 4-hour big arrow is saying sell, the overall trend is down. But in terms of scalping, you could even use the 1 hour and say, hey, if the 1 hour is saying sell, if the 1 hour is saying sell, anytime an opportunity shows up to sell it, sell it. But just don't go against the trend. Don't go against the 1 hour trend. The actual way to determine trend is price on top of or below the 50 moving average? If it's on top of the moving average, then it's buying. If it's below the moving average, then it's selling. That's the actual way to determine trend, at least as far as I've been taught.
Okay. Jenny? Quick question. This is Mike.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you doing this training for us. I had the privilege of watching another one of your trainings over the weekend, and I found it to be very helpful. My question is, to scalp with the 5-minute time frame, would that be better left to a more skilled trader? I mean, because it just seems like, and I'm a relative novice at this. It just seemed like 5 minutes you kind of have less time to kind of make up your mind and make your move than you would on the 15. Or is it just the same process in terms of just looking at the 2 higher time frames for confirmation?
At the end of the day, guys, this is personal preference. So I know that coming from the people who are making a lot of money, like stupid amounts of money, most of us people, we like the 1 hour and the 4 hours. So that alone should tell you something. Having said that, the 5-minute, you can use the 5-minute, just make sure it's in the right direction. So you have no time to make up your mind. But sometimes that's a blessing depending on your personality. So let's just take this little move. We have our big arrow, little arrow. We have everything set up, and here's your crossover. It went against you a couple pips, so you got to add spread into that, and a 10-pip take profit. You would have hit it. You would have hit it.
Okay.
But again, this probably took 3 hours to make that 10 pips. So if we just scroll back in time, I don't want this perfect move because that's a bad example. That doesn't always happen. Let's get an ugly move because we all know what happens on the perfect moves. Of course, those are perfect. Hello. Let's go to some of these ones that were like, well, what would have happened right here? Would you have been able to get out? That's, well, maybe. And then it went against you 15 pips, which isn't huge, before it dropped. So this is, let's use something like this as an example if you're going to talk about scalping, because this is probably what's going to happen to you. You're going to go super heavy. You're going to say, I got this. You're going to say, I'm getting in right here. Everything looks good. It's in the same direction. And you get in, and you're super happy, but you have to cover the spread. And it goes against you 15 pips, 16, 17, before it drops. So those are personal choices. And in terms of scalping, the major deficit I see in terms of scalping or in terms of the 15-minute chart, and I talked to a couple people in the group who are doing super well with that now and later strategy. The deficit to scalping, guys, is that your stop loss has to be either equal to or bigger than your take profit, which is rule number 1 in trading. Like, you shouldn't have your stop loss bigger than your take profit. That is a negative risk to reward, and that is not a wise decision. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But it's not wrong. There are people who make millions and millions of dollars going for 3 pips. And like, you can do that. Obviously, you have to consider what kind of lot size you would need to make that happen. So it's possible, but you just have to know what you're doing. Your skill set needs to be much higher, in my opinion, for shorter time frames. See, all these new people join the group, and that's why Pat had decided, okay, let's look into something shorter time frame, because people can't, well, a lot of people weren't quite ready, I should say, to maybe hold these trades for long enough to see what would happen. So it works, but just be mindful that you have to understand a lot more to be successful on smaller time frames than you do to be successful on longer time frames. The knowledge you need is more.
Hey, Jenny.
Yes,
Jenny?
Hi. What is this money string? I saw you posted that in the group, and I'm like, okay.
Okay, so this is basically just a whole moving average. It's nothing fancy. You can get it in the marketplace. It's free. I like it because I can program whatever moving average I want. So for a while, I had it set at 33. You can have it set at 10.
And what does that mean?
So what that is, well, you can't even see it when I set it at 10. So let's fix that. So a whole moving average essentially changes colors when price is above, below, or on top of it by so many pips for so long. I mean, in layman's terms. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So this does the same thing as a crossover would do, so I don't even need the crossover per se. And it will adjust for the first couple bars, but then it stays steady. So when this turns green, you're saying we're in a buy. And notice how it stayed green. It turned purple a little bit, but it stayed green all the way till up here. Then it turned purple. So even just using, we could almost make this a naked chart and put like 2 or 3 things on there. And more often than not, you would have success, provided that you use the right risk to reward management, and you're not over leveraging your account. Trading is not hard. It's people. It's so simple that a lot of us can't wrap our mind around how simple it is, so we try to overcomplicate it. Like that's it. So even take this move. The big arrow was over here, and say I just didn't check it because I was out and about or I was at the gym. Even just this move, that's 60 pips. Just from right here, we've got the MACD crossing the 0 line, little arrow, seabird, our buy sell line, still in the same direction. Money tree string turned the colors, and boom. And that happens everywhere. Everywhere.
And what moving averages are those?
These are Pat's, I'm pretty sure. Actually, I think I might have it slightly adjusted. If it will let me do it. So that's an 18. And that's an 8. So his are 9 and 18. I have it slightly faster, so my 8 is actually an EMA versus an SMA. So it happens a few candles earlier
And
than
the 18 is an EMA too?
The 18 is an SMA.
Oh.
See? That's it. You're welcome.
And the only
Vinny?
thing you change on the money string is the setting, right, for 40?
You can play with it again. That's kind of personal preference. 40 was what it was set at before it was customizable. And I like it. So I kind of keep it at 40. A friend of mine, we're kind of playing with some other numbers, but at the end of the day, in terms of the 1 hour chart on a GBP pair, I'll show you.
Oh, so if I'm using it on the 15, it would need to be something else?
No, I was just on the 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're fine. I'm just telling you why I like 40.
Okay.
I like 40 because on the 1 hour chart, every time that happens, I easily, a little bit here, but I can get 50 pips without stressing on a GBP pair. That doesn't work on all pairs. So you have to use like half of the daily range. And using the 1 hour, if you kind of back test this, you'll see. So right now it's Euro NZD, not great mover, but on the 1 hour chart, let's just go down 91. That's a perfect move. So let's go to an ugly move. Because it's easy to talk about the perfect moves and what they do. Let's talk about the ugly moves.
I know, right?
So this one went 35. So if you had did half of the daily range, and I don't know what it was set at on this day, in all fairness, that's just what it's set at today. But if you did half of the daily range with the 30 pip trailing stop or 20 pip trailing stop, you would have still cashed out in profit. Or if you had no trailing stop, okay, and your stop loss was at the previous low or this previous low, it didn't touch those, so that's a 39 pip stop loss, and then you still got your average daily range. See? And this is ugly. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that happens everywhere. Well, especially with the trailing stop. Trailing stops, people don't like them because they knock you out and then you miss out on all the big pips. But I learned early that I don't care what I miss out on. I do care what I lose. So even this one right here, let's assume the big arrow was right here. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But let's say we got in. And we got in there. I had a trailing stop. I still would have came out in profit. I mean, this doesn't look like something I'd take because of this news candle, but just to give you an idea.
Okay.
Hi, Jenny.
Yes, sir. How's it going?
How do you do?
Fantastic.
Yeah, do you mind to have a look at the JPY, JPY?
I know,
GBP,
right?
JPY, I mean? GBP, JPY, yeah.
Okay, I would be a fool to make a prediction on this because you guys see my gap still open? You guys see this right here?
What do you mean, Jenny?
See?
Hold on, let's see. I'm going to insert shape, triangle. This is still open. There's no candle here. See that?
Okay.
So I'm going to make it bigger.
So no candle to come up to fill it, you're saying, or?
Yeah, so it's now, again, across the board, market rules is that gap has to fill. But it doesn't have to fill today, though. And because everyone probably like in the world is buying this pair right now, I'm sure the market makers or whatever, they're just going to keep pushing. So I personally am going to buy on this. I am upside down by, I don't know how my pips, I'm pretty heavy on it. My account can hold it. I won't trade any other pair in this account because of how big my lots are on that. So this has to go back up. But here, let's go to a naked chart. As you see, I'm kind of paying attention. This is just naked charting, right? We have it stalling out in this area quite a bit, right? So this is kind of a really key support and resistance level. You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching this pair pretty heavily because it could very well push. If it does push down, a lot of the experts are saying it's going down for 200 pips before it goes back up. Some people are saying it's going down for 400.
Oh my God.
That's a big, because listen, this is one of those moves that like make history. So what my hope is, I don't know who asked that question. Remember how the Japanese government was shut down for like 10 days, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I personally believe that the yen is strong because you have to realize how much currency wasn't processed during that 10 days. So right now the Japanese yen is so strong that it's pushing this down really hard. And that's not going to stop until they kind of, all their books get balanced and everything kind of balances out. But once that happens, I mean, it's got to come up and fill that gap. When it's going to happen, Lord only knows. So I wish I knew. I'm in on this trade too. I don't like how it's wicking down like it is. Let's see. So, well, that was I don't like it. Because it's still making lower lows. Hopefully this stalls out and it goes back up. But we don't know. We have no way of knowing. We do not. But just so you know, I'm in this trade. I am upside down on it. But we have another crossover on this side of the zero, which kind of indicates that it's still a downtrend. And that is not very sexy. Not at all. This one is being played with really badly.
Yeah, that pushed down pretty hard.
It did. But you have to understand why. There's multiple reasons why this is happening.
Yeah, I was in that one earlier, Jenny, when the second gap. But I didn't get. Yeah, but I didn't get out. I think I had my TP at 35, and I think for me it went to like 28, 27 before reversing over 100.
Well, that second gap was on the 15-minute time frame, right? But that
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's quite a few reasons this one is kind of being manipulated. First off, you have that Japanese 10-day closure, which is just making the Japanese yen so strong that every Japanese pair has fallen a lot. I mean, this one fell, I don't remember who I was talking to about this, but this one fell, what, 400 pips? So we have a potential, and when this happens, it's going to happen fast. I mean, that's a big potential. Because to fill that gap, it needs 230 some odd pips.
Putting my house on that.
But that takes a lot. So depending on your account, like you have to be prepared for this one for some market manipulation, because anybody who knows anything about Forex, I don't want to speak out of place when I say that there's some federal regulation or international regulation that says they have to fill the gap, otherwise it's considered currency manipulation, the currency is void, and da 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 da. There's all this technical stuff that I don't want to be wrong and teach you guys inaccurately, but the basis of the theory is this gap has to close. It has to close in terms of keeping the books balanced, but it doesn't mean they can't push this down 500 pips and blow everyone's account before they do it. But they got to close it. It's just a matter of when. So I wish I had the answer on this. This looks like a nice teacup, but you see how it's wicking up right here? See that wick to the upside? I don't like that. And this is on the 1 hour. Yeah, I don't like that. And then all these right here, these are no momentum whatsoever. A lot of indecision in the marketplace. So we'll see if it busts through this line, plan on it's going down for a while, because they're just going to keep playing with it. We've got the green line kind of trying to cross on this, but it's not there. So your guys' guess is as good as mine for this one. I wish I knew. This one is enough to make somebody, depending on what your account size is, this move, because it's so assured. If your account can handle it, this will buy somebody a house, which is why they're going to make sure they take as many stops as they can, take as many contracts as they can in the process.
Hey, Jenny.
Yes, sir.
Just with market manipulation, see that very same pair, GBP, JPY. I could see Silva in there. Him and I are on this broker in Australia, and last week, I think, Tuesday, it spiked down for almost 500 pips on our, but it wasn't on anyone else's chart, but for us, it went down, I think, yeah, almost 500 pips.
What day was it? Time frame, what time did that happen?
I
don't know if Sylvan can
can
hear me there, but
I can hear you. I
we
can
both,
hear.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we remember how we were discussing how that spiked and it kind of wrecked the charts for like days.
Yeah, that's what happened. Realistically, last time it happened, I called them up and they actually rectified it. It's actually a 1 minute candle, and it only happened on their system. So I don't know if they can. I've got 2 MT4 platforms open, and one of them has the chart on the candle there, and the other one doesn't. That's why I was a bit. I was a little, questioning whether this broker's being serious the way they function at this point in time. So yeah, I'm looking at different opportunities at the moment.
So what time did that happen? Or what day?
Sorry?
What day did that happen?
Let me just bring it up.
Let's see.
I think it's only for us. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but I guess it only happened on the Pepperstone broker, I guess.
Yeah,
yes,
it
was, man.
On a Pepperstone broker, that's
I want
right.
to verify that a move is real. Sorry, I've got this recording software on my thing.
Well, they did try to apologize, but I'm not so sure whether they did refund back your money.
Yes, they actually did refund the money back. I'll be honest, they did that because I did make a bit of a fuss about it. And they did. I told them I'm actually in a group with other people and I can see other people's charts, and they refunded in 10 minutes.
That's awesome. Most brokers will fix it. So sometimes, keep in mind, this is all just software. This is all computer programs. So if a broker made a mistake, brokers fix it. When I talk about like market manipulation, I'm talking more about the big money and the big banks. So if you realize what we're doing is we're buying one currency and selling another, selling one currency and buying another, right? Well, there's insider trading. So if Wells Fargo, one of the biggest banks in the US that does foreign exchange, if they have, let's just say, for rounded numbers, $1 million worth of exchange from the euro to the US dollar to enter into the books, they can withhold that information for X amount of hours depending on federal regulations, and depending on holidays. So like they can decide to wait and wait and wait and wait until the price drops to where they want it, and then enter in all those contracts to get the best price, depending on if they're doing, you know, entering in the euro, whatever, I can't think. What is the euro called again? That's sad, I can't remember. Whatever that's called. The euro, duh, sorry, total brain fart. I knew that, I was like, come on, it's so easy. But depending if it's the euro or like the US dollar, they can decide when they want to enter that. So like if this is a downward market and they're looking to start the buy, they can wait and wait and wait and wait. And them withholding that currency basically makes price drop further. That's what market manipulation is. So they're driving the price really, really low. So when they enter it, they have the best potential in terms of their gain. Like, I don't know how to explain that any better. But when I think of market manipulation, I don't usually think of brokers. Brokers are not your enemy. They're just in business, so they make mistakes. But I mean, other than some brokers can be bad. Like Trader's Way is bad, in my opinion. They're bad guys. Bad guys.
News just hit on New Zealand.
News hit?
Yeah, just on the NZD USD, it has a massive spike on the New Zealand news, I'm guessing.
Yep, let's see. Let's go down to the 5-minute chart. And maybe next time we'll flip through some pairs. But I know, like, I got a ton of questions, like, in my inbox. I was like, okay, just answer them. My little thing is in the way. I can't even access that to just scroll over. There we go.
Ooh, I'm glad I'm out of that one.
I was still in it when we were
talking about.
Yeah, Bossman, I should have listened to you and got out as well, but it was only
I got out of that one. I seen it coming. There was too many news on top of each other. I said an American might be getting real strong.
Yeah.
Said, let me pull out of here fast.
Hey, Jenny. Quick question on NZD USD. There's a gap that it hasn't filled yet. Even with the news, it's still way below the gap. I mean, are you saying before the end of the week they have to fill that gap, or they can carry it to next week with the gap?
Okay, so where's the gap?
On NZD USD, from this past Sunday is a gap that it still hasn't been filled in yet.
Okay, if you guys aren't sure if there's a gap, go to TradingView or go to a different broker. So
I'm on TradingView right now, looking at it.
What pair?
NZD USD.
I'm on the 1 hour. This gap. If this would be considered filling that gap. Let's see.
Which one?
I'm pretty sure I've marked this one as filled. So let's see. Earning. Wait, sorry, the tools are all lagging. So you see this big wick? That's only a 6 pip difference.
Okay.
You see
so
that?
That's considered a big gap. Okay.
So you see this big gap, but do you see this?
Yeah.
So this mostly, and if you're ever unsure, just go to TradingView, because you can pick a different broker.
Damn, look at that BN.
That is.
God damn.
Well, at least the GBP went up. I need that GBP to go up. That thing is not being nice. Okay. So you can pick multiple brokers when you're on this.
Yeah.
So let's go to the 1 hour. Let's see if it filled according to this. So you see how close that is? Like that's, and you have to consider like the actual, how do you say, the spread, the variation in price.
Okay.
The markets are allowed so much play. They're just not allowed that much play.
Okay, so you consider that gap filled then, basically?
Oh yeah, I would consider that filled.
Okay.
So at best, you're looking at maybe an 8 pip difference.
Okay.
And this is on Awanda. I mean, give or take. That's not something I would bank on. Like personally, I'm still, my bias is that this is going to go up once all the news kind of settles. That's my bias on NZD USD throughout the next 10 days. But when I say that, I'm talking about not today. I'm talking about the next 10 days.
Okay.
That's still my overall bias. But like, would I bank enough to buy a house on this? No. Okay. Would I bank enough to buy a house on this? Let's see. JPY. And notice the difference. I can't type either. Let's see. Actually, I used to type like 120 words a minute. So this right here, notice how so that, oh, silly me, hold on. Again, well, let's not go dollar for dollar. Let's just kind of go in general. That's a big enough gap that that has to fill, okay?
Yeah.
So when we say it has to fill, it doesn't mean it has to touch this exact spot. It can touch right here. I mean, it could kind of just come up, but it has to do better than this.
Yeah.
So that's when that one's worth kind of putting your money where your mouth is. That's the difference. If that makes sense.
Makes sense. And then the last question, when price action is outside of the trend lines, does the trend line automatically reset over time, or just going to stay outside till it gets inside the trend line on the auto trend lines?
The AA lines?
Yeah, the AA lines, yeah.
The AA lines move, so if you want to know, it's a little hard with all this recording software to show you certain stuff. Have you ever used the back tester? Why won't it let me do this? There we go. Have you ever used the back tester? This right here?
No, where are you?
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so watch my mouse. I'm coming up right here.
I can see your screen, yeah.
So this is what we call the strategy tester. So if I wanted to test an indicator, I'm going to click indicator. If you want to see how this moves, then click on AA lines. Pick your favorite pair, so whatever pair that is. One that you kind of understand. Just don't pick Euro GBP. I tried to master that pair and I just could not do it. So every tick is the most accurate, and then just pick your dates to kind of watch how this moves. This will also teach you a big difference in terms of like how kind of everything works different in summer than it does in spring and in fall. So let's say we're going to do April 1st through, there's a much better way to do this. What would happen is, if you want to see how this stuff works in real time, and let's say you have a free Saturday afternoon, okay, watch this. So I've got it set on the 1 hour. What's your favorite time frame to trade?
I like the 15-minute, but I could do 1 hour too.
Okay. Well, you're going to see it move more on the 15-minute, so let's use the 15-minute. So I'm going to hit start. So I'm going to make this bigger. Whoopsie. I'm going to make it kind of big. I'm going to put it to my candles now. I really despise that grid, so I'm taking that off. Oh, that's not the right indicator. Oops. Sorry, I messed up.
Jenny, you can just change your template. Just upload the template while it's on the strategy tester.
I can put my template on there?
Uh-huh. Like if you hit your way up at the top and load your template, it'll automatically load your template.
I just clicked on that. That's never worked for me. So you got to teach me that, because honestly, I'm all about learning something like that. Because watch, so if I click on mine and I click on my template, or like, is there a different step you take?
No, that's the one I take. I click right there and I click on my template and it pops up. Maybe you need to pause it. Oh yeah, try load template. Try load template.
Pause that. Hold on. Let's go to this darn recording software is all up in the way. Hold on. Let's go to load template. Is it gonna let me? See, it won't even pop up. Like I don't have any pop-up box that's allowing me to load it. And if I just click on it, like, can you see me clicking on it?
Yeah, I see it. I don't, wow, that is weird. And you're on CoinEx, right?
This is AFX, but that's never worked for me on any. It's never worked for me. Like I wish it would. That would make my life like blissfully simple. Blissfully simple.
Normally when I do the strategy tester, I load the template, and in that way I can see each, like all my indicators and stuff in real time. Well, in the data past time.
Look, it's not. I would love to know how to do that, because watch, if I hit.
You can drag it on from your navigator.
Okay, so let's go to my navigator. Templates aren't on my navigator though.
Yeah, template's not on your navigator.
So you'd have to drag each one into it, but the template doesn't work for me either.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if it works for you, I love you. You're my best friend. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna have you. I'm gonna tell you what. I'll drop you templates like left and right, because I have to drag and drop every single item.
I'll do a little short video and put it in the group for you.
You see me doing it, like it doesn't work. Like, and I've tried it so much, and I don't think it works for me on CoinEx either. I have CoinEx too. But anyways, I'm gonna press play. So whoever asked this question, watch how these reset. Just we can hang out and talk and watch what these do. These blue lines are gonna move. So right now it's in a downtrend. We're probably gonna hit a weekend or something. Let's see. I'm gonna speed it up. And you'll see how these kind of adjust. So right now it'll be aiming down, but eventually it's gonna just decide that it's going the other way. And we can even draw. Oh, I'm so jealous. I wanna do that. On CoinEx, huh? Has anyone else been able to do that? Somebody's drinking soda. Or Starbucks.
This is my first time seeing strategy tester like this. I never knew you could do that. I mean, I know on TradingView you can do it, but I didn't know you could do that on MT4.
No, we're not trading. But watch this. So, and that's all we'll do. We'll just kind of hang out and we'll take a look at stuff.
Quick, is there a chance they might make the Uncle Pappy system work on TradingView, or just keep it on MT4?
I don't really think there's any big plans of making it on TradingView. It doesn't have there's not a lot of really good reason to do so.
Okay.
Judy, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for letting us pick your brain. You took a trade on US Chief for a sell a while back, not a while back, quite a few days ago, and then you mentioned that you took a buy and you're on a sell again on the US Chief. I know you want to let this run at the moment.
Okay, well, you guys see where it's at right now, right? Hold on. So right now we had one touch. I'll take a look at your US Chief. But you have to watch how much that moved. So like if you're in a sell, it went down a few hundred pips, it just went back up a few hundred pips. None of these, there's no system that tells us, hey, this is gonna move for 1,000 pips exactly, set a take profit, it's gonna know your swap, it's gonna know your fees and your spread, and it's gonna work out perfectly. That's the reason why I like trailing stops. Yeah, you're gonna miss out on some moves and you're gonna close out too early. But in theory, like if you're using a reasonable take profit, your trade should close in, if this was a bigger time frame, it should close here, and then you would buy, it should close here, and then you would sell, it should close here. That's the concept. You're just buying and selling. But none of these are forever. Did you guys see that reset?
Yeah.
You guys see there? But the reason why that's not super a big deal to me is because I could have swore I had that new, oh, there it is. There we go. It's because we're using more than one thing, guys. We're not using just the big arrow. So you see how the AA lines reset? See how skinny they are?
Yep.
And they were this big.
Mm-hmm.
and they got skinny, because right now, when they get skinny like that, what I've noticed according to the back testing is there's about to be a change. So it wasn't a downtrend, now it's skinny, right? So it could go back into a downtrend, or it's going to go into an uptrend. But when it gets skinny, that's when it's starting to change direction. So let's just kind of see what happens here. And I'll even add my money tree string. Maybe. So what time frame did you enter the USD chef on?
I entered it on the 1 hour, but I followed it on the 4 hours. I'm looking for long term. But what I was going to ask, on a pullback, where exactly do you put your stop loss? Do you still put it on the 4 hour big arrow, or do you use you know, a 1-to-1, or do you use the buy and sell dots?
And that's a super loaded question. You guys see, but I'll answer it in just a second. Yeah, sure. Do you see how the AA lines are working? So now they're wide again. Do you see that? And this is going to keep happening. So this adjusts as we go. So you take it with a grain of salt. That's what it kind of comes down to. Does that help you understand the AA lines a little bit? Let's see. More. I just wanted you guys to see that. Boom. Wait for it to reset one more time, and then I'll show you in terms of how I do the stop loss. But there's really no right or wrong answer. You just have to decide your risk to reward ratios. You have to decide how many pips you're going for and why you're going for that many pips. Keep it super simple. And I'll just let this kind of keep running. I'll draw a line.
Jenny, okay, I just did it on my computer and it worked. Now I'm looking at your strategy tester. I have where it says Pip Society Vernus, I have moving average. And I have, instead of indicator, I have expert advisor. I mean, you probably don't want to stop it now, I'm just telling you. And then for the model, I have open price only. I don't have every tick because it's faster, I guess, that way. I just want to see how the market moves. Like, I normally use it that way to see how a past thing played out, so I can see if I would have took the trade or not, if that makes sense.
It definitely does. So let's see which one of these variables work. So putting on open price doesn't work.
Could be the indicator and the
yeah. Change the indicator on the left. Change it to expert advisor.
Just on. Yep.
There we go. Stop. Okay. So, oh, this recording thing is all from the way. So we're going to go to expert advisor. So what do you have at expert advisor? You moving average. All right. Open price only, right? That look good?
Yes. Yes.
Start. Well, see, I could learn something too. You guys, if we all kind of collaborate and work together, like, we will learn so much.
There we go.
Yay!
Oh my gosh, I'm in love with you. That's amazing. Hold on. Okay, I got to press start. I got to see that this is going to work, and then I'll answer those questions. Okay, so I press start, and now I'm going to put in super easy, and it's going to keep going, huh? Oh, I'm so in love right now. That's so awesome. Check that out.
You got to do a video on that.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm really good at the back tester, but that, you just saved me like so much time. That's so awesome. Because I could never get that. I was dragging and dropping like 58 things.
Yeah, when I seen that, I'm like, oh my God.
Guys, we can learn so much from this. Okay, so I'm going to stop that. I'm going to close this. Okay, that's enough fun with that. Oh, I'm going to have so much fun with that. Thank you. Who is that? That's fancy. Who is that?
Deja.
Oh my, you're my best friend. You want some flowers? No, you don't even know. That's so amazing. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so, I'm about to figure some stuff out. Okay, I'm going to go to USD Chef. Okay, hey guy, how's it going? I will eat the cookie in a minute, I promise. Okay, sorry, my son brought me a cookie. He said, and he text messaged me, eat the cookie. Literally. I'm not even kidding, I can't make this up. Okay, so we're on USD Chef. And let's see. When did you take, but tell me, if we want to analyze trades together.
I took a buy, which played out fine, especially because I've used your strategy with the different positions and the bigger lot on the first position, which was great. It worked out fine. I think it was just my runner that got caught in that trading stop. But then I wanted to re-enter on the pullback, but I wasn't too sure of where to put the stop loss when I do re-enter on a pullback. So
if you enter here, go ahead.
I thought that putting the stop loss back on the 4-hour arrow would be just a bit too much. So I thought I was wondering what you do when you put your stop loss on a pullback, when you enter a pullback.
Okay, so I would love to answer your question, but you're telling me you were buying on the 4-hour. This wasn't
selling.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're right so we can have a real good information. So you sold it wherever, you made your pips, right?
Yes.
Probably on this.
Yes, that's it.
With that 4-way tracking strategy that I shared,
yes,
all
that's
4
right.
close and profit right here.
Yes, I think so, yes. And then I think actually I kind of left one running and I didn't really close the last one, which did close in profit on a trading stop. But then I knew it had down more potential. I wanted to re-enter on a pullback on a sell again, but I just wasn't sure where I should put my stop loss this time. I didn't want to put it back on the too far high.
So because I don't know where you were, and again we're going off the 4-hour right now, like I can't say, well, if it pulled back right here, right? Well, let's assume, let's go naked again. Just so you guys see something a little bit differently. USD Chef. Okay, so let's go to 4-hour. Somebody is like at the bar or at the party or something. I hear music.
Oh,
I drink it.
yeah, I'm at Applebee's.
Applebee's. Yeah, I can hear that. I'm like, it sounds like a bar. Okay, so let's say you got in, you made your money, and it pulls back, and there's no indicators, right? So you don't know the best place to place your stop. What I would do is I would place my stop. Let's say we're somewhere right here, because let's pretend we didn't know this was happening yet, right? Because if I'm going to teach you guys, I'm going to go off of the ugly scenarios. And the reason why is because it's really easy to talk about these pretty ones, right? But the problem is we don't know if it's going to be a pretty one. So let's talk about the ugly one. So this candle right here. You see this candle?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's a really nice doji candle, kind of nice pullback. We're still real confident that it's going down, right? My stop loss, again, pretending I can't see anything from the right, would be at one of the previous highs, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
So if this was a GBP pair, I wouldn't have it at this high. But since it's this pair, I wouldn't mind. And that's only 30 pips.
Okay. So if a pullback, if the big arrow is not an option because it's too far up, you'd probably use the nearest high. Was that the previous high?
Yep. So that's why I'm coming back to this. So you just saw it naked, right? And again, I don't want to go off of the best case scenario. I want to go off of the mid-grade case scenario. So same scenario. Let's assume we saw this right here. So we didn't know this was going to happen yet, okay? Because we want to talk about what's possible. We don't want to talk about, you know, hopes and dreams, okay? So this would have been too tight of a stop loss, okay? So if I would try to use this previous high, that's too tight, isn't it? That's like 2 pips. So that's not even worth entering because your spread would knock you out. So I would not have used this previous high. This one, again, this previous high, going off of this candle, that's 10 pips. At market open or market close, even if you're spread gapped a little bit, that's going to knock you out. So your best case to put your stop loss is the previous high, you know, give or take 30 to 40 pips. You know, 50 to 60 if it's a GBP pair. And that is the previous high. So in this case, it happens to work out to be the buy-sell lines with the super easy SR, right? Which isn't the tip of the arrow. But again, on this pair, guys, this isn't even like a huge stop loss. 42 pips is not bad, not on the 4-hour chart.
So yeah, because what I was referring to is actually on the pullback is going for a sell again. So you'd move it to the.
And that's what I'm talking about. So yeah. Let's see, insert a shape. Let's just make sure we're on the same page. I'm going to insert a circle. See this beautiful candle? We're just going to pretend like this is the one we saw. I don't know why that didn't work.
If he goes into trades, he'll be able to see the price point that he got in the trade, and you could just put a horizontal line at that price point and kind of determine where the pullback would have been or where the stop loss should have been.
Exactly. But that's why you said you weren't sure where to enter, so you didn't enter again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so if you have a price you entered at, by all means tell me, then we can work with real data. But we can use this one as an example if you want, or even this one. But those are best case scenarios, as you can see. So I'm trying to use an ugly scenario. All you're doing is putting your stop loss at the previous high, as long as it's not too far away, right? So let's go to a different pair then, just to show you this one's kind of choppy. So we're buying this pair, right? What? Sorry, there's background noise. But you were buying this pair. You made your pips. You're super happy. You bought a car, right? Because that's enough to buy a car, right? But it pulls back, and maybe the 1 hour and the 15 and the 30, and they're all lining up, and it's in line with the 4-hour. And you're kind of you're believing this, and you want to see this is a nice pullback. Well, there's a billion ways to do this. And again, that's totally up to you. You can use Fibonacci ratios. You can use a billion things, because this is probably about a 50% pullback from here, right? We'll give or take. I don't know for sure, but we'll find out. So that's 250-ish, 120. So that's about a 50% pullback, right? So you would know it's a pretty safe pullback, and you're going to buy it again. So where would you put your stop loss on this spot? You look to the left. So because you don't want it all the way down here, that's 120 pips, right?
Yeah, that's my concern sometimes.
So, but you still want to enter it.
Yeah, that's right.
So if it makes a lower low, here's the reality. If it makes a lower low than this, the buy is no longer valid. So this isn't a horrible stop loss. But again, we want something a little safer to move. So we have some support and resistance over here, right? See this kind of stalling, these candles, and that's on the 4 hours. So that's a whole day worth of stalling at that area. And then we have a whole day worth of stalling at this area. And then here again, rejected. So this right here, if I just looked left and I was going to wing it and say, hey, this is too tight, I'm looking to enter this trade. I'm pretending I'm going to enter it here because I had enough confirmation based off of the smaller time frames. And I go to the 4 hour to put my stop loss. I'm going to look to the left. I'm going to be super, I'm not picky. I'm going to kind of play around with it and say, okay, well, what would my risk be? 40 pips on euro odd. I can do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So when there's no buy sell lines and there's no other good support and resistance, all you're doing is looking for support and resistance. Like you're looking for a place where price stalled out. And you can go up a little higher because those same candles, See, price stalled here, here. In this area, kind of the bodies and the wicks are kind of all stopping. But you're just looking for kind of confluence. Here's the reality though, once the price, if price rejects and turns around, so let's say you put it here because you wanted a tight stop loss and you weren't playing around, you had 10 standard lots on this and you were not willing to risk a lot. The reality is if price comes back and breaks this, the buy is no longer valid anyway, so you were better off getting out early.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yep.
Okay, cool.
I just wanted to see a different perspective of, you know, I was kind of thinking about the same thing, but it's just, I wanted to know if I'm on the right track.
Yeah, you guys got this. We all just, it's nice to collaborate, and that's what we love about the trade rooms is because, ooh, somebody's drawing on my chart. What are you drawing? Okay, come on, who draw that? What do you want to talk about?
Somebody can draw on your chart.
I didn't draw that circle. Somebody else drew that circle. See? It's okay. But anyways, the trade rooms are really cool to collaborate because we can just kind of talk and bounce ideas off each other. I mean, the odds are when we put all of our heads together, like we learn a lot, we grow a lot. And I just learned something super cool, and like she should totally get some flowers because she probably just made me another multiple six figures. And that's all.
I'll take a commission though.
I was waiting for that.
You guys are drawing smiley faces. You see these smiley? Now I know y'all drew that. See that smiley face right there? See this?
You could see our arrows.
I can. Somebody drew. Y'all see the smiley face?
Yeah, see the smiley face.
Yeah, I can see your smiley face. Somebody do that. Let's see.
You should lock it. Lock the way to lock it.
We'll make readings. Yeah, see, that's me.
Hey, Jenny.
Yes, sir.
This is Servant. Sorry that I was drawing this silly stuff. That was just my screen, bro. Well, but thank you for the training. So everything looks good.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, that's kind of the idea, is just kind of hang out and talk and bounce ideas off each other to be available. So definitely you are welcome. And thank you for the smiley face if that was you.
Cool.
Okay, guys, do you guys have any other questions, comments? You guys, I mean, it's not a super great time to look for pairs, but I mean, we can kind of drag and drop. You guys know how we do it. It's really simple.
I have a question. When you are first starting out, when you first step up to the charts, and whenever time you do, do you do the 4 hour or do you start at the 15 to look for the triple arrows?
Okay, so I always start my chart on the 1 hour. And this is about what my chart looks like. This has got a lot more on it, as you guys can see. But you'll notice that it all kind of lines up. Like, we don't need all the noise because it's all going to tell us the same thing, except for news. News is a liar, so we don't like that. So we can look at the more confirmations. If that makes you feel better in your, emotional state, then look at more confirmations. If you like simplicity, choose the ones that your eyes see the best, whether that be the stochastic, whether that be, there we go. Whatever you see better. So if any of these indicators kind of work better for your eyes, whether it be the confirmation mountains, the MACD, I can tell you how to program them all to kind of match this system. But take what's best, simplify your chart, okay? Pick your time frame. Personally, I like the 1 hour because I like the way I have my trading set up. It works for me. You guys can seriously make 10 grand a month based off of approximately 30, 35 trades and going for about 25 pips. Literally, that's all you need to make 10 grand. And then I can show you those spreadsheets too, and I can show you the math. I'm much better on the spreadsheet than I am, math in public. So, but
what's the account balance, Jenny?
On this one? Oh, so in order to take, well, that one we practiced, and a big group of us successfully turned $50 into $10,000 multiple months in a row, just kind of testing it out to prove that it could be done. That takes a lot of leverage, a lot of leverage. So for you guys, I would say maybe $100, okay? Play a little safer. And it would take 1,000 to 1 leverage, period. There's no 50 to 1 leverage will not do that because it just doesn't have enough room.
So what about 500 to 1?
500 to 1 on a $100 account balance. Again, I'd have to do the actual math, and this is math in public. So you could easily turn it to 5,000 safely. I don't want to say 10,000 and then get your hopes up, but that would only take, like, follow this math. 30 trades. So you'd only have to find 30 trades that go for 25 pips. And the reason why I'm saying 25 and not 20 is because I like to over-deliver, under-promise, and over-deliver, right? So having said that, this is not a GBP pair, right? This is just a AUD JPY. Going on any of these, could you have gotten 25 pips?
Yeah.
Okay. Could you have gotten 25 pips? So let's pretend
we want to focus on a very high probability trade.
Like what Pat was talking about. That's what.
Well, in the accounts that we did that in, what you have so even if you lost like 15 trades, so in total you had a total of 45 trades. That's still really, really doable. But you definitely don't want any more than a 1-to-1 ratio, preferably 2-to-1 ratio. So your stop loss would be tight. But it's not hard. So take any one of these pairs. Like it's to turn $100 into, let's just go super conservative and say 5,000. What's your favorite pair?
It's so crazy, but I like US 30.
Oh, see, I thought we were going to be friends, but I don't know. Okay. US 30, like it just doesn't trade. I know it's on here. Hold on. Somewhere. You can tell how often I touch this. Well, this broker is also different too. US 30. Okay. So you like US 30. You got to be right on US 30 though. Like you can't be wrong on US 30.
Yeah, I have a little scalping strategy that really works on it.
I'm just gonna go over this.
That's awesome. So if you have a scalping strategy, again, I can't count these pips. Is it the first 3 digits? Is a pip?
Yeah, you could count the first 3 digits. Well, I don't know how your broker, it's different brokers, but mine is the first 3 numbers.
That's what I'm pretty sure it's the first 3 numbers, yeah. And you're right, different brokers are different. Are you on CoinEx when you're trading US 30?
Well,
yeah, CoinEx allows you, the 0.01 is technically a mini lot, so it's only worth like a cent. So like on my Hugo's Way or my AFX, 0.01 is $1 a pip. And that's the smallest they go.
Yeah, because that can throw people though.
Yeah.
So like on this pair, if you were, again, you got to know how to count the pips, and Lord knows I'm not the person to ask to be accurate. You don't have to have all the knowledge to make a lot of money. But this one went 200 pips. Well, we're on the 1 hour. What's your scalping strategy?
15 minutes.
And are you just using the triple arrows?
No, I use the triple arrows. There's a couple of other indicators I use. It's one called the zero lag MACD. And it's another trend low bar thing I got. So
okay. Well, whatever your eyes can see, again, most of the time they tell the same story. So if you went for just 20-30 pips, let's see.
All of this right here, like my setup.
Hey Jenny.
Somebody just pops up stuff. What's that?
But I like
how do you withdrawals on AFX though? They good? Are they fast with the withdrawal?
That's the reason why I love them is because listen, when I want my money, I get my money.
Process.
Like I get it quick.
Where, it crosses.
Depending on, like, it takes you time to build up the trust balance, I guess you can say. But when I withdraw from AFX, I literally get it either into my Coinbase account instantly or my Skrill account instantly. Like
I was gonna ask about Skrill because I have Skrill, so I was gonna use that. I know it's pretty quick.
Yeah, Skrill they're down for the last 15 days, which is kind of irritating. So I've been using Bitcoin, and Bitcoin charges more fees. But when I say that they're fast, I mean like whatever risks I have to take to have AFX are totally worth it, because when I want my money, I get my money. And in this world, that's like the best thing, period.
Okay, good. Yeah, I use LQDFX and FX Choice, and they're pretty reliable as far as like getting your money out.
Oh yeah, I'm super in love with, like, I get my money today, right now, when I want it, how I want it. So
good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, they've got a great reputation for that. Their leverage is killer. Their spreads, as you can see here, are higher than what we would like. They're definitely high, but there's also no commissions. So.
What broker is that?
AAFX.
AAFX.
Mm-hmm. If you send me a message and ask for a link, I'll send you a referral link. And then it doesn't cost you anything. You get a slightly cheaper swap fee. So you actually get a slightly better rate when you use somebody's referral link. And then I get a small referral bonus. So it doesn't cost me almost anything, and we both win.
Okay, and then, how much leverage they give you on that account?
Oh baby, it's 2,000 to 1.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Oh wow.
That's what I'm looking for right there.
Send me that.
2,000 to 1.
Yeah, I have an account with. I never used it. I have an account with them, so I'm gonna start using it.
You get ready to make some money, Jenny.
Oh, I've been. You don't even know.
Can you just post that link in the chat?
I will put it in the chat. Yeah. And then if you sign up with my link, then I will give you a private training, or I will help you come up with like a 1-hour customized trading plan. But when we do that, you have to be ready to be you. So like, if you lack patience, just tell me. If you have a certain goal, like, we have to know you to know what trading plan works for you.
Yeah. Can you take a look at GJ?
Is it dropping? Please tell me it's not dropping.
No. Is that what you were looking for earlier today? Because I was looking at it, and on the 15-minute chart, and it had the triple arrows. And I just joined yesterday, so my first time taking a look at it. So, but now that arrow moved. The big arrow was over where the circle arrow is.
Yep.
Now.
Well, we're on the 15-minute chart. So I told, I'm not sure if you were in on the beginning of this, but I'm definitely in this trade based off of this gap. And obviously everything is lining up to be a buy.
Yeah, and that's what I was in, was a buy.
They want to see.
But you see this right here?
Loss ratio.
That is not pretty.
Yeah, and it wasn't there when I got in it earlier. So, but the 15 and the 30 were lining up. So I thought the hour would come next.
The 15 and 30, yeah, the arrow. That's something I wanted to talk about tonight. Was everyone is like super worried about predictive arrows, predictive indicators. Here's the reality: you've got two choices in terms of indicators. You've got lagging, and you've got predictive. And if I'm going to have to pick my poison, predictive wins every time, because everything else is technically late. Do you know that? So,
yeah.
Having said that, like, this arrow might come early, anticipating a move, and technically, and this is the part that we always kind of go over, is when that arrow was right here, did it move up? Yes, it did. It moved up 30 pips. Well, let's be conservative and let's just say 20 pips. Okay, 25. It moved up closer to 30, but so when everything lined up, we got our 30 pips. Probably the same thing that happened here. But like I said at the beginning of the call, Japanese yen has a lot of backlogged banking to do. So the yen is still super strong. And I know a lot of people who are waiting to fill this gap. And that means there's going to be a lot of manipulation. Because this right here is 250 pips.
You want to watch the YouTube video?
And when this happens, it's going to happen. It's going to happen fast. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I can't say this is going to go down. I would love to. We're coming into London. I'm praying that it doesn't go down. If it does go down, we talked about this on the naked chart. And I can kind of redraw it up just to kind of show you. Let's see. Let's go to the day chart. So fortunately, it's bouncing off this support and resistance, which makes me very happy. And technically, this is still trending up. But if it breaks this, it's going to break hard. So this one's kind of up in the air. I would love to say take this buy, but I'm already quite upside down on this buy. So it's just a matter of when that gap is going to fill.
Need a pinball reversal on that one to get some momentum.
We need something. We need something, I'm telling you. I have an expert trader that I work with. Him and his group were saying that nope, it's going to drop for 50 to 400 more pips. And I was like, oh my God, that's insane to me. But they can do that.
Now, 50 to 400?
Yeah, 50 to 400.
Oh, wow.
Would that pretty much be on all of the JPY pairs like that?
Well, you got to think the Japanese yen has a lot of strength right now, but it can't stay that strong forever because technically it's a really weak currency. So give it some time, maybe. So I don't know. It's got to have at least a retracement, a pullback, but how big that's going to be, I am definitely not a fortune teller because that's one of the pairs that still got me baffled because, again, this is what I'm looking at, this gap right here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to say that, but there's also no buy-sell lines yet. And we've got our MACD kind of telling us a different story. It's telling us it's turning around. So it was not able to break the zero, so it's still in the downtrend.
Yeah, because I'm in a trade like that, but I'm in the A, and it looks similar. That's the reason why I asked you that question, because it might affect this trade too.
Are you an AJ?
Yep.
Okay, so real quick, this is what we're seeing. I mean, let's pray, but let's go to AJ real quick. This turning around is not hopeful for me. That's why I would not say get in.
See, it's bouncing on that zero down there on the MACD.
Yep.
Looks similar to that trade that you just was looking at.
Yeah, but you've got better momentum here.
Okay.
You see these two kind of really, these are very powerful candles, kind of railroaded or tweezer topped. And we can put it on this. But it also just broke a previous low. Yeah.
Yeah.
The gap, see how that gap closed?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's closed. But when a pair, so I told you guys I was going to teach you my gap strategy. My gap strategy before using this system was really, really simple. And all it was I'd buy up and I'd put like a pending order to sell back down. Because more often than not, when a pair gaps down, it's because it wants to go down. When a pair gaps up, it's because it's going to go up. Does that make sense? So I would fill the gap. I do a market entry to buy, and then I do a pending order to sell if it gap like this. That was my previous gap strategy when I was only trading like on Sundays and with EMAs.
Oh. Jenny, if I shoot you a private message, can you send me that, I guess the spreadsheet for the 30 pips, the 30 trades, 30 pips?
I would like that.
Yeah, me too, Jenny.
Yeah, me too, Jenny.
So right now, all I have of that one is actually like a screenshot. So let me make it an algorithm because I haven't messed with that one in a long time. But I think for this group, I think it could be potentially super, super productive and beneficial. So I definitely think it can be.
If you send me the screenshot, I can type it up for everybody.
How good are you with spreadsheets?
Say that again, Jenny?
How good are you with spreadsheets?
I'm an accountant.
Oh, then you're better than me. And you could do math in public. You got this. You got this, man. I don't know why I'm on here doing math. It's just about, so the spreadsheet is kind of calculated to be $10 per pip, and you got to bear in mind that some pairs trade at like $6 per pip. So when I redo it, I want to do it to where it's only, where instead of it's $10 per pip, it's at 9. So it kind of gives a little bit more room for the pairs that trade. And it's a really simple equation because as you go,
I did the equation. I did the equation for 30 pip on $100, 30 pips to 30 trades to 30 pips to 5,000, and it came out to like $5.50 per trade.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of misleading because the first trade is only going to be like $5, and the second trade is going to be like, you know, oh, you're talking about the lot size, a 0.55 lot size?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which I know on the, like you said, like the first couple of trades, the first trades until you get to probably like 500, it's really going to be risky. But if you have a broker that's 1 to 2,000 leverage, you know, but still risky.
But here's the key. So Pat mentioned something this morning, which I think that if you guys can just write down 5 or 10 of these things and get really good at remembering them. One of the things he mentioned was the 4x8 rule. So you are never in more than 4 trades at a time, and they're different currencies. So you shouldn't be in, like, right now, all the odd pairs look super, super sexy, right? But if I'm going to take one, I'm going to take one. Well, when I first looked on Monday, all of them looked really good, right? And on one account, I'm in odd JPY. And another account, I'm in odd USD. I'm up in odd, by give or take, what would that be, about 25 pips. So, but you can't take like all the odd pairs. You have to take like 1 odd pair, 1 euro pair, 1 GBP, 1 NZD, or 1 USD. So only trade, you know, a max. And in terms of that strategy, because you're using such a big lot, you'd have to probably trade 2 to 3 pairs at a time, at most. And you'd have to dictate where you want your stop loss, and it has to be a reasonable risk to reward. Like, so in order to follow that, it's still a little bit up in the air because, again, not every pair is worth the same. So Euro GBP is worth $13, whereas, you know, CHF JPY is worth 6. So you have to put that in mind. So a 0.5 on Euro GBP is the same as as literally a standard lot on CHF JPY.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this spreadsheet's kind of just an idea. Your best bet is still to use a trade calculator. Or if you want to go across the board and keep it simple, you can totally do that. The math won't equal the exact same amounts, but it'll be close enough to where you turned $100 into a few thousand. Like, that's the end result, is that you were able to turn $100 into a few thousand.
Okay.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, family, I have to go. I'll talk to you next time.
Oh, hey, family. Thank you so much for coming in. And maybe next time we'll kind of click around a little bit more. I just wanted to answer all the questions for tonight.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for coming. Sweet dreams.
Okay, bye, everybody.
All right. Guys, does anybody have any more questions, or are we all good?
Yes, thank you, Jenny.
Thank you guys for coming. And hey, thank you for showing me how to do that with the expert advisor. I didn't know that, because I learned something too.
You're welcome.
You are my hero. Absolutely. All right, good night, everybody. I will get this recording posted and then post the link. Give me a few minutes to go check on my kiddos, and we will go from there.
Hey, Jenny, can I ask you one question before you go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you do like one-on-one mentoring?
I can. What's your story?
I just keep going back and forth between making $100 and losing $100.
Okay.
So I'd like to actually, you know, make money, not just go back and forth between break even.
Okay, that's fair enough. But what strategy are you using?
Right now, I'm just doing the 15-minute. Not doing the now or later. I just do the now. That's what brings me up. Because every time I try to hold something for later, there's always a reason why I have to get out of it. Like news is coming, it goes against me.
What's your schedule like? When do you trade?
Generally, I'll get up at like 4:30 in the morning.
What time is it?
Eastern time. So that's London session and New York session.
Well, I promise not to be up that early. I will be getting my beauty rest. Let's see. So you trade at 4:30. That's 2:30. You're basically catching London breakout.
Yeah.
And do you work during the day?
Yeah, but I'm a software developer, so like I'm always at my computer.
Have you considered maybe just picking? Because I can totally work with you. Okay. I started doing this thing where if you sign up with one of my brokers, I would, you know, train you or training or whatever. So we could totally do that. But if I were to train you or anybody else in this group, the biggest lesson I could tell you is your money will only grow as much as you do, right? I'm kind of big on that because I've built quite a few companies. I've made my millions, lost my millions, made my millions. So I'm a totally different place in life. But if I were to coach you, what I would tell you to do is pick 4 trades a week and then don't touch them. Like, and that's literally all you do. And if you can do that, like, I promise you in a month, you would stop having lost and gained. You would be up at the end of the month.
Well, that's my problem too, of not touching them.
And that's the problem then. So,
I know I'm the problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm the problem. We're all our own problems. I mean, I am definitely not, I'm not exempt from that at all. I wish I was, but I'm not a big fan of scalping. There's a lot of really successful people and it's sexy. It's super sexy. Like I want to love it because it gives me something to do. Like I don't have a day job, right? And it probably sounds really silly to everybody else who's looking for financial freedom, but like sometimes I think about being a waitress, like, cause it sounds like fun. I wish I was lying. When you're at home, like it's different. It's easy to want to be in front of the charts. But if you can have self-discipline to take, I posted yesterday a list of the trades I've looked at this week. Literally, I have a few different accounts. I pick 3 to 4 trades. I put them in 3 to 4 accounts and I stack them accordingly. And then I let them go. I don't touch them. If I want to play and I'm bored, and I'm at the gym or whatever, then I would play in a demo account. And if you can do that, I can help you. Like if you can pick your trades and we can pick them together, but I can't help you if you keep touching your trades.
No, I know. No one can help me to do that. I pick the trades. They're good trades. I know they're good trades. And then because I keep looking at them, I get nervous. I'm like, I can't go down. I can't lose any more money. I'm just going to get out. And then I'll check them later and I'm like, I should have let it go.
So you're cutting your losses short and you're letting your you're cutting your losses, you're letting your losses run and you're cutting your win short.
Yes. And so now I'm at that point where I'm frustrated with doing that. So I can set them and be like, what will be, will be. Close MT4. Well, I guess I couldn't close it because it's the trailing stop, but now I actually open it every 5 minutes.
Leave it alone. I mean, I wish I had like some magic cookie that would tell you, but that starts with you. Like here, so pick, what's one of the trades you lost recently?
Well, I was in GBP CAD. I didn't lose it. I just got out of it. And it was good. I was in it for a sell. And it did exactly what it was supposed to do.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's a really nice sell. That's the perfect example. This one's not so pretty. But this one's the perfect. So you missed the perfect move out of fear.
Oh, I know. And I look and I'm like, how come I can never find just these perfect moves? And I was like, oh, I was in one and I got out.
What time frame did you enter that on? Probably the 15-minute you said?
Yep.
So again, I can't say what would have happened or like what the chart looked like. Well, now I can because this is something super cool. But let's assume that everything lined up. I'm in the wrong pair.
GBP and CAD. I like the GBP pairs.
I do too. Like I've gotten really good at understanding them. I love GBP CAD and I love GBP odd the best, personally. So you were in a sell.
GI is really good. GI like pays you every day.
How are you using GI? Triple arrows on the 1 hour?
Yep. I think I catch probably like 50 to 100 pips every time.
Exactly. I wish I could tell people, like, everyone is like overthinking all these details, right? But every one of these moves is like 50 pips, 50 pips, 50. So 50 pip take profit is safe. Like, it's stupid money. Like, there's no other word for it. Stupid money.
Yeah, it's stupid. It does it every time. The same thing.
Okay, so you were in GBP CAD right here on the sell?
Yeah.
And where'd you get out at?
Pretty quick.
Okay, so you're telling me you just kissed away a card. Okay?
Yeah.
So how many more times are you going to kiss away a card before you break that habit?
Oh, I know, it sucks. I've kissed away a lot of cards. I don't have a problem seeing it. I see it. I understand it. Logically, it makes sense. I don't know. I think it's like a control issue. For whatever stupid reason, I think that I can control it if I'm looking at it.
Okay, so coming from another woman, hello, welcome to the club. That's a psychological. Oh, I went to school for psychology. Not that my friend says I should never brag about that, but anyhow, having said that, like, that's a huge issue. There's no system that's going to fix that. Like, and coming from a mom and a woman who, has had life experiences and who feels like if I could just control everything, then I'll be safe and I'll be happy and I won't have to worry about life. Coming from that girl who's on the other side of this computer screen, when you relinquish control, I don't know about your creator, but I'm pretty big on mine, and my daddy in heaven says that the control's not mine, it's his. So it's his. Your job is to find a good entry and leave the results up to God. Your job is to get really good at your job, right? So you're a software engineer, right?
Yeah.
So you know how to do your job. You know what steps to take, right?
Yeah.
So you do your job, and then you relieve the paycheck up to human resources, right?
Right.
You go to work, you do what you're supposed to do, and you trust that the IRS is going to take your taxes out. You trust that H&R, the human resources, is going to cut your check, or it's going to get deposited at the right time. You trust it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever get bonuses, or like, does the pay ever fluctuate?
Bonuses, yeah.
Okay. So sometimes you don't know exactly what you're going to get, but you know it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So if you put that same concept to trading, you will be unusually successful, like unusually. So like 10 years ago, at one of those, seminars, First Steps to Success, one of my mentors had said, my job is to focus on the action and leave the results up to God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I got really good at the action.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, it was sales. It was a different world, and I left the results up to God. And when I did that and I relinquished control, because whether or not we sit on our butts and make our hips grow, it's not going to change where this trade goes.
Right. Period.
It's just not. I think us women have that issue with control. But do you want to know something that women have that guys don't? Well, I shouldn't gender profile, but I think that women don't like being wrong. Right. Would you agree with that? Like, they have a different, innate desire to not be wrong. So we have a really, really, really good habit of being selective.
Yes.
That will be a massive asset to be selective in these trades, to only take what you know is going to be good for your life, like you would when you're picking a mate. But like anything else, we can't control it. Like, you can't control what problems you face at work today, but you gotta go to work today, right?
Right.
It's the same concept. I mean, so if I were to help you and mentor you, I'm definitely want to do that. It's first probably starts with that, because the system's not going to change. The system does what the system does. Like, who is that who said they make a bank on GBP odd? If he's still on. I don't know if he's still on, but check any of these moves. This is GBP CAD on the 1 hour. To get 50 pips is too easy.
Yeah,
like, it's too easy.
Odd, I think I've had only success on GBP odd. I don't think I've actually lost a trade on GBP odd.
Do you have my FX book?
Yep.
I think that, especially for somebody like you, who's probably way more detail oriented than me, you can learn so much. Like, what I learned about myself was I was over trading. So on the account that I have, like, so my longest account, the account that I just kept putting money into every week, right? So I had like a 2-year losing record, right? I'm not lying when I say that.
Mm-hmm.
Even in that account, because I hooked it up one day, actually, when I started playing with my FX book.
Yeah.
I hooked it up and I was like, even the account that I literally lost, like way over, I lost an insane amount of money. I don't want to discuss how much money.
Yeah.
I still had a 73% accuracy ratio. Do you realize that?
Yeah,
So,
I'm at a 61%.
But when you realize that, so what does that tell you?
Not as bad as I think.
So I was like, I'm super not great in health in public, but so at 60% accuracy ratio, if you were taking a 3-to-1 trade, so a risk to reward of 3-to-1, so you're gaining 3 times as much as you're risking. If you just follow that one rule at a 60% accuracy ratio, you will still be in profit at the end of the month. You know that? Just that one rule. If you change one thing about how you're trading, which is your risk to reward, how much you're risking for how much you're going for, you will be in profit at a 60% accuracy ratio.
Okay.
So what I learned from my 73% year losing streak, because I hooked it up, it was just like the oldest account that I had set up, and I wanted to kind of see what the numbers were once I kind of learned about at my FX book, and I realized that the only reason why I lost money was my risk to reward. There's some background noise, guys. But anyways, my risk to reward was obviously really bad, number one, and I was over trading. So most of the time I lost is because I over leveraged my account. It wasn't because I was wrong. It was because I over leveraged and then I blew an account. Like, that was obviously years and years ago, but having that data showed me a lot. Right. And even your data will show you a lot, that if you stop cutting your winners short, okay, you'll be surprised at what you can accomplish.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. And so I have a 50-to-1 leverage right now.
That's not enough.
That's not enough.
Sorry, I'm not supposed to advise on a broker. Having said that, anything that goes wrong with your broker is not on me. It's just the broker.
Yeah.
I am not a financial advisor, all that, legal disclaimer stuff.
I get it. You're responsible for nothing.
Yes, but.
Can you explain a little bit more on the brokerage? I understand leverage, but I've never even seen a broker with, you said 1,000 leverage?
Oh, baby, my broker is 2,000 to 1. Like, that's where I have the most money. It's insanely high.
Can you explain, talk a little bit about the benefit of that, I guess? Because I've only been doing, I think the most I ever did was 500, so.
I will say most of my accounts are 500 to 1. That's a pretty safe amount. You're not playing with millions and millions. So 500 to 1 is good. So in terms of AFX, the 2,000 to 1, it basically allows you a lot more room to trade. But if you lack self-control, it does you no good, because they're going to allow you to put a lot on that account, and then they're going to allow you to blow that account. So if you have a $1,000 account on a 500 to 1 leverage, you could probably get away with, give or take, let me think. You probably even get away with 1 or 2 standards without blowing the account if you were right? On a 2,000 to 1 leverage on a $1,000 account, you can probably get away with 4 to maybe 5 standards. Again, depending on the pair, there's a lot of different variations. But there's a lot more room to trade. And the higher your leverage, the quicker you can make money. But that sounds really amazing, except for the fact that the quicker you can lose money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So 50 to 1 is like 50 to 1, in my opinion. I'll be super direct when I say that's not even worth trading. Like, at least not for me. Because 50 to 1 means I can probably get away with a couple 0.01s. And that would essentially take me like a year to get to $10,000. And that's just, I can make that much driving for Uber.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I don't know. I'm definitely not an expert in that. But 50 to 1 to me is unreasonably low. 2,000 to 1, you have to know how to trade. But if you're willing to have, hold on, this is a demo account. Yeah, this is a demo account. So Started with 5,000. I think I did a total of 8 standards at a time, right? And that's with 2,000 to 1 leverage. So I did 8 standards on a $5,000 account. That was all at one time. And then I did 10 standards. This was a separate time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, this is just a demo account. Again, I started with 5,000 to show you what's possible. So on a 50 to 1 account, even with 5,000 in there, you might be able to do a standard, 1 standard. On a 500 to 1, you can probably do 2. You might get a little bit risky. On a 2,000 to 1, I literally did a total of, well, it's 8 point something standards because all those were 1. I kept stacking until I got to 2,000% margin. I just kept stacking the trades until I got to 2,000% margin because I like to keep my margin really high because that's what keeps me really safe. So I did like 8 point something standards on a $5,000 account at one time to give you an idea. Because I was trying to explain to somebody else, it was during a training, I was trying to explain to somebody else how the leverage works and why it was so important to keep that marginal percentage high.
Yeah, I learned that last week.
Yes.
It's a negative.
Oh, well, so you blew your account, so you got a margin call.
Well, I didn't blow my account. I closed the trade immediately.
See, that stings. But once you get to negative, so what was your margin percent when you took the trade? Do you know?
I don't. It's because I took I took 2 GBP trades, and then I took a EUR NZD, and so I did that one at 0.08, and I did the other one at 0.05, and so I don't know. I try to keep my margin above 100, but I didn't pay attention when I put that.
Okay, so wait a minute. Anything less than 100 is a margin call. So that's
I got a margin call. It came on my watch, margin call, and as soon as I got it, I closed out. I still have my account. It's not blown.
Okay, but that should not be your target, okay?
Oh, like, no, I'm not saying it's my target.
Okay, so like you're the one that has 50 to 1, so like I wouldn't let your leverage get anywhere near 200 or 300%. Like that's if one trade, if one thing goes wrong, you could blow your account. Just one thing.
Okay.
Like I keep my margin percent above 500 on my accounts that have 500 to 1 leverage. I keep it above 1,000 on accounts that have 2,000 to 1 leverage. Period.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of how I do it anyways. And it just, you have to create a rule that you can understand. Because if we can say only be in 4 pairs, we can say never trade too much this, but reality is every pair is worth something different. Every leverage is different. And with so many variables, the only thing that's consistent is your margin percent. So how much percent you have room in the account. So if you have to pick a rule, that would be a good rule. That's a consistent rule that no matter what pairs you're trading or how many pairs, you can look at that and say, can I take another entry? Can I risk this trade?
Right.
You know, where do I stand?
Right. So that was my lesson on margin calls and leverage and why it matters.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It does matter. Please don't let it get close to 100%.
Okay, now I know. So that's what I thought. I was like, oh, okay, as long as I stay above 100%, I should be fine.
No, how about as long as you stay above like 200 or 300%?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the rule of, well, like on a 50 to 1, I can't even say because that's like so low. But okay. That's rough for me. Like to me, you're trading to make money. So I'm assuming you make a reasonable salary because you're a software engineer, right? Without getting too personal. So you're not desperate. So I'm assuming you can afford, 100 or a couple $100 to say, okay, this is all assumption. But to say I can do this and I can stick with the 0.01 until I hit $1,000, or I can stick with the 0.05 until I hit $1,000, just until you get comfortable. Like you can create rules that work for you based off of your situation. Right. And with a couple $100 account, there's zero reason why you shouldn't be at $1,000 by the end of the month. The system is stupid accurate. People lose because they buy here, right? Or they buy here, right? Let's just pick a random spot. And it goes up, but they didn't put a trailing stop in, and then they closed it because they got scared, and then they looked for another trade, right? And that's what keeps happening. It just keeps happening. Most of these pairs, so if you would have bought here or even sold here, okay? So against the triple arrow and everything, even if you would have sold right here, you would have got your 50 pips.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what Pat was referencing in his training is, I mean, not exactly, but so even if your spread sucks, which like AFX spreads are not great, you can still get 50 pips on this. That's easy. You can do it. And if you have like on GBP pairs, I'm still kind of deciding how big I want my trailing stop to be because I play around with a lot of stuff. But since I test a lot of stuff for myself and for others, I try not to discuss it until I'm sure. But lately I've been liking the 35 to 40 pip trailing stop because on any one of these moves, worst case, I broke even.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I can take that. So worst case, I broke even. If I missed the big part and it retraced before I hit take profit, which happens sometimes. So let's take this one that's not sexy. This is not super sexy. I'm assuming the big arrow was here. And I took the trade based off of enough confirmations. Okay. Ugh. And let's say my stop loss was, well, my take profit was just a smidgen too big and it didn't touch it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the spread, it didn't touch it. And let's say it came all the way back. I'm okay with coming out close to break even because I had a 40 pips trailing stop. I'm okay with that because I didn't lose anything.
Right.
And then worst case, big arrow reappeared and I got back in. It's really easy to get a set amount of pips. Just decide what that set amount of pips is based on the pair that you like to trade. That's why everyone's afraid to like one pair, but it can really make a big difference. Like it potentially can. If you get to know how a pair moves, you'll understand it differently. And everyone, even this little move, even these little moves, you could have got 20 pips if that was your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And worst case, with the right trailing stop, you still would have been knocked out in profit because that one is 48 pips, 46. And that's a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So decide, if you're trading GBP pairs, go for 50 pips. And once you get good at getting 50 pips, then you can worry about this move.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Once you get good at 50 pips and you're happy with your 50 pips, then let's talk about you getting 400.
Right. Okay.
The system is amazing. Like he created something that I kind of really got out of the sales world. I definitely don't promote anything ever. I work with one other team because of the trade manager, and I do buy crypto packs with a different company. But in general, like I don't promote anything. And this company, I want to promote because I believe in the vision. I believe in the potential of if enough people can start making 6 and 7 figures. I think that Pat and mine's vision is the same in terms of creating an organization that does some amazing things, like way bigger than a stupid car, because a car gets dented anyways. My brand new car is all dented. At church, no less. Like somebody hit my car in church. I can't even make this up. Like that happened. They left a note too.
Why does they left a note?
I know, but I think that they had like they put the wrong number on it, which is kind of ugly. But at the same time, like I don't blame them. Like maybe they're young, maybe they have their own situation and they can't afford like another drama, which is okay. Mm-hmm. It's just a car, and I still have children, so I haven't bought my dream car yet. But I do like my new cars. I mean, I can afford my dream cars, but I can't afford to have a child next to it because I will flip out.
Because they ruin. My son has destroyed his half of the car.
I know, right? How old is your son?
4.
Yeah, that'll do it right there. That'll do it. 100%. Cheetos ground into the car. So my car is pretty clean. It's black in the inside, so it's reasonably clean, I should say. My brother says I need to get it detailed, but he's kind of a clean freak, so he doesn't count. Yeah. Anyways, guys, is there any other questions, comments? Maybe in the next one I'll go over MT4 and just kind of click on different pairs. I know NZD has big news tonight. And Pat and I talked about, calling out signals and all that good stuff. AUD looks good. If this breaks the 0, I would enter this. but I needed to break the zero. Anybody else going once, going twice?
Thank you for taking the time, Jenny.
Yeah, no problem. All right, guys. Well, I will be on tomorrow night. I thought there'd be way more questions with how many messages I got, but that's okay. And we'll kind of just click through some pairs and kind of go from there. So I hope you're welcome. I hope you have a fantastic evening and get some rest, or happy sunny day in Australia. I wish I was there. You're gonna have to send a picture of a kangaroo because I really want to see one.
We'll make it happen.
Okay, deal.
Okay.
I got my passport and everything now, so I've been traveling all over the U.S. Now it's time to go other places.
Sounds great. Have a good evening.
Yes. All right, guys. Have a fantastic evening, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Sweet dreams.